Our usual edition of Lichess Plays. Here on this Sunday, we're playing Blitz for the next 2 hours. 3+0 Blitz. A lot of you guys know the drill at this point, but just to recap the rules for anyone who's new or just needs a refresher, I'm International Master John Bartholomew, and I'll be playing Blitz against you guys for the next 2 hours. And you can challenge me to 3-0, either rated or casual. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. I'm willing to put my rating on the line. The only stipulation is it has to be 3 minute with no increment. If it's a different time control, I will have to decline the game or abort the game and go on to the next one. We're starting off here against Voki Jr. Hello, K. Buckby. Greetings. Hello, No Joke Chess. Blunder Champ. Yeah, it says Johnny B in the Christmas tree. Yeah, that's right. Still got it up. Hello to our YouTube viewers as well. Steve, I see you. It says, Steve, I made it on time for once. Very good. Greetings, Oliver, as well as Max. Hello, Nim Bachelor. Good to see you on YouTube. Been a while. All right, let's take this. I'm giving white the bishop pair, but I'm going to try to prove that these pawns could be weak later. This is the hanging pawn structure. It could be the hanging pawn structure, especially if white advances c4. Greetings, Ocean Chess Kid. B Buckby. Oh, we got both Buckbys in the chat. Two of the Buckbys. Hello, Tusin54. B Baby J. GM Sultai. VTT. Greetings. Hello, Alfred. I think I should bring this back. I'm thinking about maybe taking and then doing this, but I got to secure my queen first, of course. So let's put pressure on d4. Again, shout out to No Joke Chess, by the way. Our faithful Lichess moderator, always helping set things up. Cheers, No Joke. Appreciate you doing this, as always, along with all the other Lichess moderators, volunteers, contributors. So I'm winning a pawn here. Nice pawn to pick off, too, because it also isolates the c pawn. And I'm thinking about just taking c4. I could try to milk this and maybe, for example, defend my b pawn. But I'm going to do this because bishop takes b7 is going to run into rook b8 with a pin. White is not advised to do that. So I think queen takes b7 will probably be played. And I like the look of this endgame. Yeah, let's take and go here. I probably want to play a move like g6, maybe g5. But this is a good moment to just secure the king. Let's play g5. I'll be a little more aggressive. Generally, in this type of scenario, if you have a choice between the g and the h pawn to secure your king, I found it's better to push the g pawn if, there's not too many extenuating factors. And that's because when you put the king up on g7, it's going to be protecting both the h and the f pawns, as opposed to if you go h6 and play king h7, the f pawn can sometimes become a little loose. All right, so I'm coming up here attacking this. If rook e5, I'm going to play h6 and just nicely keep everything together there, most likely. All right, so now white's losing a pawn again. And this is looking like a technical win. Yeah, hello, Flintlock. Chess Ghost says, No Joke is a king. I agree. No Joke is absolutely integral to all this happening. Kind of early for a Christmas tree, right? Kind of early or kind of late, depending upon how you view it. I like the lighting. It really ties my room together. That's the most important thing. Ooh, I actually did not see this move. I gotta be a little careful. Oh, if I go here, this is kind of funny. Bishop b3, I can take, because then my rook is defended. But bishop b3 would otherwise be a clever resource. But I guess it just doesn't work for white. So what now? Maybe rook over. I'm also looking at the knight jumping in somewhere. But let's play rook over. Budjavich says, Go is much scarier as I don't know the rules. Yeah, Go is quite a beastly game, isn't it? Fascinating game. Okay. So I'm up a piece here. I'm looking for some checks. I'm going to double up the rooks. And then I got these 2 checks, 3 checks to set up the mate. Typical mating pattern. And I think with the knight joining in, and this is a mating pattern you want to know for sure. But even if white had moved the rook, which would have given the king some running room, the knight was coming in as well. It was too much. Okay. Oh, thank you for the game. This was an Alapin Sicilian where I generated, I think, a fair amount of pressure. Yes, thank you very much. I think probably somewhere around here you can play the position better. I would bet this all has been played, actually, and the engine's giving you a pretty big advantage. Maybe Lichess database will have some games. Yep. Queen b3 does make sense here. So it perhaps doesn't like the way that I gave up the bishop pair, or maybe queen a5 specifically, suggesting queen d7. Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at this line because you will have some activity and some nice play if you keep things together with your central pawns. But these are delicate, so you got to keep them protected. Thanks again for the game. Who do we have next? AK Drews, you're up next. Let's play d4 with the white pieces here. All right. Now, I've been playing some Jobava Londons. I think I'm going to go back to that. Let's play bishop f4. I know many of you guys like the Jobava London. These setups, these fun positions that you get. So, yeah, we're going for this. E3, bishop d3. That's the drill. That's the plan. Okay, c5. Is there something I can do aggressive against that move? Knight b5 definitely comes to mind. That can be a typical response. I just don't know if I should play knight b5 here. I'm going to do it. I think it is the correct move. It forces knight a6 for the most part. Otherwise, very difficult for white to guard c7 in a meaningful way. Hello to Joshua, also John Doe. Yanni Gogo, hello. Milot Rashika says, hi, smart guy. Thank you, Milot. Julian says, longtime follower from Belgium. All right, love it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hello, Aryan. Okay, takes there. Usually you want to take with the e-pawn in this situation. Keep these squares protected, especially b4. Yeah, and bit of a tough position for my opponent because my knight is stable on b5. I have the makings of an attack against the white king. I think I'm just going to go bishop d3 now. Just look for a trade. White castle's short. They're walking right into g5 ideas sooner or later. You played Chess Network and King's Crusher today? Wow. Yeah, you could complete the trifecta playing me. That would be impressive. Okay, let's go here. I'm not going to make a decision yet in terms of g5, because g5, you always got to watch out for knight h5. So it's possible I want to play pawn h5 first. Also, I'm not too keen to make this trade if it opens up this rook on my undefended bishop. So I think knight e2 is just a good move here. What other sports do I play? You know, I don't play a whole lot of sports anymore. I used to be big into basketball until I had a couple injuries. I exercise, I lift, I run, especially in the summer. I like to golf. I like to play ping pong with friends every once in a while. But I'm not doing any like serious sport regularly. All right. H5. Might be time for H5. I'm okay with this trade. It keeps the knight defended. Have I played pickleball? No, I have not. But I know people who play pickleball. They seem to like it. Hello, King Pre. All right. I kind of like how Black's playing this. I mean, they're staying flexible. They're doing the best they can under the circumstances. Might be just time to play this G5 move and just break through, you know? Arguably lets that knight back in the game, but I'm going to do it. Because after take, Black could play knight c7, but I think this pressure against the Black king is looking kind of scary. I'm not castling queenside because I was a little worried about knight b4, so we're just going with this for now. John, how's the ice fishing this time of year? Well, it's getting warmer. We have some decent weather on our hands. It's right around freezing right now, which is, good for how far north we are. We'll take it. It's been a really cold winter. It's been cold. It's been windy. Not a ton of snow, but I think everyone around here is ready for it to be over. Get some nice weather as we head into March, hopefully. Okay, let's go here. Guard the a2 pawn. All right, now I can attack with a free hand, I think, against the Black king. Looking at h6 eventually, but I might want to put a rook in position first. This is a sturdy structure. This is going to be tough for black to do much against. John, how's your vertical mouse? I do not have it plugged in. I'm trying to use it for like basic tasks, but I'm not proficient enough with the vertical mouse yet to use it in my blitz games, let alone bullet games. I'm scared. Okay, let's go here. How is your vertical jump? Even worse than my vertical mouse skills. No. Yeah. Having had a couple major knee injuries, which I feel like I've mentioned in multiple streams now because people have been asking. But yeah, I've torn both my ACLs. So my vertical jump leaves a lot to the imagination. I'm setting up for rook takes g6, by the way. Not a lot to the imagination. A lot to be desired. That's what I meant. And that is checkmate. Thank you, AK Drews. Maybe you can try to hold on a little bit. King h8. But looking like too much pressure. I might even play bishop e5 there. So yeah, thank you for the game. I do think this setup is a little tough for black. I know c5 is a desirable looking move in general, but a lot of times c5 is best played in this setup when you've already played a6 because the knight b5 move is just always a pain. I think once that knight settles there, tough to evict it. He had a little bit of an initiative against my king, but we can maybe check this position. Doesn't look like it's hugely worse for you, but I think you got to play pretty accurate here to survive. Do you even vert, bro? Yeah. I'm trying with the vertical mouse. So thanks again, AK Drews. Let's go to the next game. Let's play e4 on this one against Wyifty. Knee injuries, I guess chess is more dangerous than I thought. Yeah, John Stevenson, that's exactly the type of comment I had to endure the first time I tore my ACL. I was a senior in high school. I had to endure so many variations of that joke for about 2 months. Like, oh, did you move your piece too fast? Like, how'd you do that? I thought chess was supposed to be a peaceful board game. Okay, typical trap here. Knight takes e4, runs into bishop d5. I'm still going to try to bait black into doing it. See if we can catch someone. I put the bait out there. You want to take that pawn, Yifty. Actually, you really don't, but I know you're thinking about it. Oh, okay. Declines to go after it. Yeah, and trying to track down the light square bishop generally is a decent plan. But when I can drop back to c2, I think I'm in good shape here. Yeah, thanks again for the game, Eddie Hab. You're all good, John. Hi, John. Do you happen to know if one of our favorite GMs, Chucky, GM Vasily Ivanchuk, is safe? I do not, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm thinking about all the Ukrainian chess players out there and the Ukrainian people. I know that's hanging over our heads. Yeah, it's just absolutely tragic what's going on with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And it's honestly kind of hard to focus on a whole lot else, especially these past few days. So definitely thinking about all those Ukrainian players and civilians, people in the Ukrainian military as well. But no, I do not know how Chucky is doing specifically. He does stream, so he has been streaming fairly often recently. I'm going to try to go here and maybe strand the knight, maybe go a3. Which is pretty cool because, Ivanchuk is sort of part of the older generation, the older guard of players. And it's really cool to see him embracing streaming and interacting with chess players in a modern way. I mean, his passion for the game is unbelievable. If you guys haven't seen his interview with Tanya Sachdev from the Gibraltar tournament a few years ago, it's one of my favorite chess videos in general. Like, because he basically goes through a game he played in this Gibraltar Open. He goes through the entire game, all the analysis. It's about a 30, maybe 40-minute video. Does it all blindfolded. And Tanya is just holding the mic and like letting Chucky riff. And his insights, they overlay a board on the video too, so you can follow it. And his insights are really something to behold. Let's take here. I'm trying to open this position up, but I don't know if I'm really getting much here. Guess I'll play this move, try for like knight e4 or some sort of pressure against my opponent's position. Good morning, Fuadi. Have I ever played against Vichy Anand? No, I have not. I would love to. That would be, a highlight for me. I have played against Magnus once in one of the arenas, one of the titled arenas on Lichess. I've also played against Wesley So twice in classical chess because he lives in my state here in Minnesota. So I've had the pleasure of playing against him. Let's play a tricky move here. Threatening knight f5. And bonus, if black goes queen f4 to try to trade queens and guard that square, I was going to drop knight h5. But now I do get knight f5 in, and I think this is dead winning. I think king g8 is forced. At minimum, I can take here and probably go after an exchange, but I imagine there's more. I might be able to take h6 or... Okay, now this is checkmate. Yeah, queen g7. King g8, I would have had to think a little bit, but... Yeah, queen g5, I think black should probably step back here, king h8, to try to get out of these discoveries, but there was some nice symmetry going on where this is the threat, and if black goes here, then that becomes the decisive move. But otherwise, I mean, I actually think black's probably better around here. I am down a pawn after all. There's some pressure, but yeah, maybe queen f4 now to offer a trade. So I think you had a decent position, YFT. It really, really hates my e5 decision. I couldn't resist with the rook lining up with the queen, but it leaves d5 loose. So it's saying, you know what, John, you should have prepped that move further. You should have played something like knight h4, which often can menace knight f5. You should have prepped it. Okay. Thank you for the game. Interesting one. Quello Esperto, 2034. Let's do this. We got a lot of challenges in the queue, 50-plus challenges. I'm ready. Okay, g6. I'll play a flank opening. Maybe a Jinji Indian. Nope, no Jinji. All right, I'll still play c5. And if d5, I'm going to go d6. Maybe mix in some f5 somewhere. Yeah, let's play this. I kind of like this setup sometimes, this Leningrad-style setup. So I'm going to do that. And if knight c3, I may still take and play it Jinji style. I wouldn't rule it out. In fact, I've seen Bent Larson play this way, so I'm going to try it. I'm just delaying a decision with knight f6 in favor of moves that do fit with the setup. A lot of times black will play knight a6, knight c7, bishop d7, strive for b5. Kind of an interesting pawn structure black sets up, right? Now I'm probably going to go for knight f6 almost, regardless of what white does on the next move. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and do this. We want to control e4. Oh, thank you, Blunderchamp. Yeah, I did get a haircut the other day. Hi, John. Do you know of any series that cover the World Championship matches history? Yes, I do. Gary Kasparov's My Great Predecessors. Highly recommended. Fantastic series of books. Pretty difficult analysis, but also a lot of historical tidbits and just generally like very interesting stuff in there. Okay, I could take d5. Is that risky here? It probably is. I arguably should have prepped this b5 move, but I'm going to play it like so and try to attack d5. Yeah, I think I should have played bishop d7 first. This is a little bit risky on playing it, but we shall see. Okay, now at least I can take, bishop takes. Could also take here, even here. I'm thinking, let's do it this way and then take here. Some pressure against f3. I like my center. I have two center pawns. White has none. I'm also hitting a2, I just noticed. So, and white defends a2, but they lose this one unless Wait a minute. There is queen b3. Is that really? Queen b3, I have c4, and then if queen takes c4, I have d5. I think this should win for me. Yeah, because now queen b3 would just lose. So it would have been interesting had white played queen b3, but I was ready to play c4. We'll look at the line afterwards. Now I'm going to take. Queen c6 could be played attacking the rook, but I'm hopefully not going to blunder my rook. Let's go d5. Mm-hmm. Advance here. So up a piece. Could pick off a2. I kind of like just getting my knight in the action, though. Let's go here. Looking for knight d4. Maneuver into the f3 square, huh? I think I can go e4. Ideally, a trade happens and I still get knight d4 in. Hello, Basid. Likewise. Yeah, I hope everything's good with you. Actually, if you like the Gary Kasparov predecessors books, I would highly recommend Kasparov's books on his matches with Karpov. Fascinating series. He goes through every single game that he played against Karpov in world championship matches, and I think even some non-world championship matches. Really, really interesting. Just the match insight, all of the stuff in the background that was going on in those matches. I really enjoy that. Oh, this maybe doesn't work. Okay, I have this move. I actually thought I could play knight takes h2, but there's queen f4 against that. And this is an Arabian mate. But yeah, I did miscalculate there. I thought this was unplayable because of takes, or I thought I would just be winning if this happened, because there is queen f4. Fortunately, I think I do have this move, and that should win because, well, king e3, I imagine there's going to be mate there. The king is pretty exposed, but I should have thought about that a little more. Stream is choppy? I don't like to hear that. Everything looks fine on my end, but we will monitor it. Yeah, I think my b5 move was arguably risky. Probably should not have been played. I think I should have played bishop d7, built this up. And I think as played, maybe white has better right around here. Something aggressive like a knight g5 type move, or maybe a4. Engine's like in white's position. Rook d1, queen b3, b4, also knight g5. Very complicated, though. This is a fun setup, I think, as black. I'm going to try to play this again. So thank you, Quello, for the game. VTT's up next. Let's play e4 again. Okay, we have reports that the stream is fine. Good. Like to hear that. Let's play a King's Indian attack against the French. Oh, I guess we're playing a Sicilian more so. Could transpose, though, if black goes d5 at some point soon. Pagan Poem says, I just bought Daniel Narditsky's Mastering Positional Chess as my first chess book. However, I am struggling to follow all the notation without that many pictures of the board. Right, it probably doesn't have so many diagrams. Yeah, a lot of print books, if you're not used to working through them, you're going to have to take your time with. It will be worth your time to bust out a physical set and use it. However, with books, bear in mind, a lot of times the authors give tons of analysis in the comments to moves that did not necessarily occur. And I don't think this is necessarily true for Daniel's book, but that in itself is why a lot of chess books can appear overwhelming. And don't feel the need to study every single little variation and sub-variation in a book. I think many authors go above and beyond. They kind of cater to the highest level audience that they can think of, writing for their peers maybe in a way. So over time, you'll kind of learn what variations are important to look at and which ones you can kind of skip or pay less attention to. Hello, Nikhil, by the way. All right. So I'm liking my position here. This knight is a little bit misplaced. I think I'm just going to go here and probably go after that light square bishop. I don't know if I really want to take it, but it seems like the most direct way to play it. I would assume b6 now. Yeah, sure thing, Pagan. Ooh, I can take that pawn. I think I should. Hits the queen. Any book recommendations for approximately 1200 wanting to improve positionally? You know, at 1200, I actually wouldn't recommend spending a lot of time on a positional or middle game planning resource, let's say. I would focus mostly on calculation. And if you get a book, something that can help you with calculation specifically, of course, there are courses, modules you can also check out that might even be better suited for that. But no, I wouldn't necessarily um, dive into something a little too heady, positionally speaking, let's say. All right, so I'm up a solid pawn here. 2 versus 1 on this side of the board. I'm really flirting with this g4 idea, and I think it's going to win material now, unless knight takes d4 is the answer. But that wouldn't work. Yeah, I think I can play g4. And where does this knight go? Because if knight h4, then the queen is overloaded. The queen, she's trying to defend both the bishop and the knight. So I can pick this one off. I was just thinking if black can play knight takes d4, but I think in the end, I'm guarding the knight on c5. Yeah, definitely pagan poem. You know, you're going to have plenty of games where you feel lost. You feel like you can't come up with a plan. But just know for now, probably a book won't help much with that. You're just in the phase where you need to build a lot more experience and improving your calculation, your ability to assess lines concretely, especially in positions you're not familiar with. That's going to be more important. And minimizing blunders. Okay, thank you, VTT, for the game. Yeah, so this position was already looking a little cramped. I think when my knight gets to c5, you pretty much have to play b6. It's not looking too pretty, but that knight, it's too powerful on c5, creating issues. So I was planning on doing this and then maybe g4 after that, kick this knight away. Personally, I think you should try to take action against the c3, d4 plan a little bit sooner. Maybe playing d5 yourself somewhere right around here. That's what I would probably gravitate towards. Because once white gets going and sets up those pawns in the middle, it can be hard to fight against, much in the style of a c3 Sicilian or an Alapin. Oh, beware rating. There's always someone in the chat telling tall tales about me. All right. Thanks for the game, VTT. Manhattan Project 9, you're up next. I think we played before, right? We have one game against each other. Yes. Okay. Good luck. Manhattan Project 9. Let's play a Caro. See what variation. Most people take or push. I found at let's say the sub 2000 level. Maybe at my opponent's level, they start to do a little more with like knight c3 or knight d2. All right, I'm going to take the opportunity to get the bishop outside the pawn chain here. Really impressive recent game in this exchange, Caro, was Levon Aronian's win against Vincent Kamer from the FIDE Grand Prix. Unbelievable game. Really nice concept on display in that one where Aronian voluntarily accepted double isolated D pawns in the center of the board. Okay, let's go bishop d6. I like this position. I've got good minor piece development here. Stopping bishop f4 as well. I think I'm going to go here. Now, if bishop here, I might play g5. I may go ahead and do that, but we'll see what my opponent does. What is the best way to reach 2200 OTB fast? Well, you can always pray. Generally, if you're asking that question, it's not going to happen. And I can't offer you much advice beyond divinity, maybe. How aggressive should I play this? I'm really tempted to play g5, bishop g3, take, g4. I'm going to do it. Let's try it. You know, I was thinking queen d6 after this, but I want to stop white from playing g4. If white gets to play g4, that's not so pleasant for me. So I think it's incumbent on me to do this. Ooh. All right. Now, nice choice here between knight takes and bishop takes. I'm going to take with a bishop. Look for me to castle queenside. I'm going to try to do that. Hello, Zen Master on YouTube. Good afternoon, Kathleen, by the way. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Rohit was asking, how do I select opponent? So you can challenge me, and I have just a big list of challenges. Like, I can click it here. I don't think it's going to interfere with the game. And I don't know if you guys can see this. I think you can. I have a button that says accept random challenge, which is a plugin that just allows me to, any sort of challenge in this list. Just click that. So it's a fair system, and I can play against someone who has challenged. Let's take. Now, white maybe could take there. We'll check that after the game. As played, white's king is starting to get pretty loose, so I'm liking my chances here. And I think my king's going to be pretty safe on the queen side. Let's see how white deals with this threat, first of all. Yeah, 2,200 over the board is, that's a lifelong goal for many people. I actually was at an over-the-board tournament yesterday. I didn't play, but it was a real pleasure to be in that environment again after such a long time, because I have not played an over-the-board tournament since late 2019. So just being around other chess players who were competing and soaking in the atmosphere was really a treat. Okay, so I'm going after that white king. Thinking about this right away. Yeah, I think I'm going to do it. I could also try to bring my rook over to the g file first, but I think this is pretty strong because it's, well, I was going to say it more or less forces white to play g4, but white takes. Thinking about multiple moves here. Check is quite obvious, but rook g2 will be the answer. You know what? I'm going to go here. I'm going to try to prep queen h2. I want to play queen h2, but I want it to be stronger than playing it initially. Maybe ambitious, but I don't think there's a whole lot of risks in this position. And now the natural rook g1 loses because white can't get another defender over there. Am I becoming a FIDE arbiter? No, I am not. I was there just to hang out with some chess players and, again, just to kind of check out the tournament. It was our state open tournament. It's about 20 minutes away from where I live. And also there was, thank you for the Game Manhattan project, by the way. Let's check a couple things. Also, there was a Minnesota Chess Hall of Fame ceremony going on, and I knew several of the people being inducted, so I wanted to, support them. And it was a really nice ceremony. It was about an hour-long ceremony. So, yeah, just a fun time. Let's see right here. I wonder if you can play queen takes b7. It's definitely risky. So instead of taking the bishop, taking here and hitting the knight. Suggesting knight e7 here. Interesting. See, I would not have said that this is a minus 2.5 position. So, in other words, despite black being down a pawn, the engine thinks I'm up equivalent of almost a minor piece. And I guess I start to see why. It's going to be hard for white to keep everything together here. Queen takes a7. Oh, and then not even taking, just queen d6, building the attack. Okay, so even in some scenario like this where my queen side has been wiped out, it's still a pretty strong attack, very strong attack for black. Let's just see what it thinks about g5. I mentioned this move was a little risky, kind of double-edged. Yeah, g4 seems like an important move. Again, if I make a move like queen d6 and attack this, I really didn't like the look of white playing g4. That is not what I want, because I'm probably not in a position to sack, and this does not look good at all. Take this pawn on e6, the pawn on g6 are both weak. Tough. So, I think for your part, Manhattan Project, bishop g5, not a big fan of that. I probably would maneuver my knight if I were you, but maybe better, you should put your bishop on f4 and try to beat me to this diagonal. Thanks for the game. Who's up next? Oh, real Mish. Hi, John. If you had to live in a country besides the States, which country would I think of? Ooh, that's a very interesting question. I would probably go for one of the Scandinavian countries because, as you guys know, I'm on hashtag Team Scandi. I love the Scandinavian defense. This was a natural segue. I did not plan this. And I've been to Iceland several times. I really love that country. Um, beautiful, beautiful place. I don't mind the cold. I actually think Iceland is a little more mild than where I currently live, where I grew up here in Minnesota. Um, Norway was awesome as well. I have not been to Sweden or Finland, but I think anywhere in that region would really just suit me and kind of what I like. I like warm weather, but I don't need warm weather to be like a year round thing for me. Hello, Dylan says, "Hey John, any recommendations against D4? Let's play castles. Any recommendations against D4 for someone more aggressive and tactical around 1800 elo?" So against D4, yeah, I mentioned before, I think finding a defense that you like against D4 is harder than finding one that you like against E4. And if you're looking at tactical lines, I probably wouldn't recommend like a straight up gambit like a Budapest or an Albin. I would probably recommend something, ooh, and this is a big blunder, that's more of a slow burn, um, where you still have threats, but you can build them up slowly over time. So, certainly something like the Grunfeld, King's Indian, Benoni. I think all of those would be good options. Maybe a Dutch defense as well. Leningrad Dutch, for instance, which I kind of played earlier in the stream. Those are all lines that come to mind here. Okay, try to think what I want to do here. I'm going to go bishop c5, I think. So my opponent is going to win some material back, but since I want a rook entirely, and they're going to have to give a knight for a rook, this is still looking very, very good for me. Come to Finland, go to sauna, win life. Yeah, saunas are pretty awesome, I got to say. I'm a big fan of saunas. Yes, yeah, we can't forget about Denmark. I just haven't been to Denmark, but yes, I do know that Denmark is part of Scandinavia for sure. And I think Iceland technically is not Scandinavia. I guess we could talk about Nordic countries as well, and it'd be in the mix, but there are important distinctions there. No, Denmark is great too. I would love to visit there because I've heard fantastic things about that country. Denmark opening needed? Well, you got the Danish Gambit. You got that. All right, let's take. So my opponent is delaying capturing one of the rooks, which is smart. I totally endorse that strategy because there's no downside. I can't simultaneously move both rooks. I could try to attack here like knight e4, but I think I'm just going to clarify the situation with the rooks. Basically, compel white to take. Because I'm up a pure piece here, I just want to clarify the position a little bit. Is there a finish, opening, or gambit? Says Flintlock. That's a good question. Not that I'm aware. There could be a sub variation. Maybe, no, I can't really think of any variation dedicated to it, to the country of Finland. Ooh, my opponent is going all in here. Well, let's do this. Now I'm thinking rook takes e6, maybe bishop here. Threatening rook down to d1. Caro-Kann defense finish variation. Oh, where you play h6 on move 4 in the main line with knight c3. Okay. Interesting. Didn't know that. That's like prophylaxis against bishop f5, knight g3. You're going to play bishop h7, I suppose. Okay, thank you, Real Mish, for the game. Yeah, so rook e5, while that did attack my queen, unfortunately there was this pin issue, so that was pretty much the decisive mistake. Hard to come back from that. You get a little bit of counterplay again because the knight takes f7, but I think it's not significant enough. Because always you'll have to give a rook for the knight, so Yep. No coming back from that mistake. Thank you for the game, though. If you had played Rook E1, maybe you can get something going gradually, like A3, Bishop D2, start playing on the queen side. I think that'd be the way to treat the position. Okay. The Road to Master. I like that username. Good luck. Let's play in English against Road to Master. There is a Norwegian variation in the Re Lopez. That is correct. It's with an early knight A5, I believe. Oh, and Webster on YouTube actually asked if I play the English. So, yeah, fittingly, I do play the English. Actually, if you look in the database being like classical over the board games that I played, I think I score the best with the English. And I haven't played it in a whole ton of games, but yeah, I do in fact score pretty well with this. The English can transpose to other openings. Like here, we might have a transposition to a Tarrasch, for instance, if black plays D5. Tarrasch or a semi-Tarrasch. Hello, Boom Pow. Is the Sicilian defense only for master level players? Gotham Chess said that. No, Sicilian is not only for master level players. I definitely have students who are amateurs in like the 1300 to 1800 range, let's say, who play the Sicilian and love it. So, no, definitely you can feel free to play the Sicilian and embrace everything the Sicilian has to offer way below master level. It's a fun opening. I wouldn't recommend people play Sicilian as their very first, and we're in a Tarrasch now, by the way, as their very first defense against E4. Like, I think it is smart to play just conventional E4, E5 when you're beginning in chess, but it wouldn't be like a huge mistake to just play Sicilian right off the bat. But I think getting exposure to those symmetric positions first is wise. All right, let's take here, doing a little in-between capture, and if bishop takes, I'm going to try to jump into this square. I'm up a pawn, but I want to work my knight in. I don't want to play knight A4. Webster likes Boffinic English. Yeah, Boffinic English is legit. It's a fun opening. Epic Phantom is asking about this famous problem called Mitrofanov's deflection. How many times have you give a piece for free with check where its point would be found later? Very rarely. I can't even give you an example off the top of my head where I've done that in a serious game. So yeah, that is a somewhat rare motif. Although if I looked at my online games, I bet I could find plenty of examples. I saw a sequence the other day, speaking of like weird sequences in chess. I saw a sequence that went check by one side, a counter check by another. So moving the king and, blocking a check and revealing a check, and then a third check as well by the side originally checking. And I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, that is a rare sequence. 3 checks in a row, 2 by one side, 1 by the other. I wonder what the longest streak of back and forth checks is in a game. Okay, I can target this knight. He's hitting this pawn down here, but I'm kind of thinking a move like this is good now. Let's do that. There's a site. It's by this guy, Tim Crabbe, Krabbe is his last name. He has a site on chess oddities, like records, like longest game and quickest stalemate, all sorts of interesting scenarios in chess that are, not always the most practical. But I bet something like that would be on his site. Okay, this is looking really good. I don't think my opponent can hold this knight here. Because if the knight moves, here, let's just pre-move this and then put my hands up. Because cool guys don't look at explosions. Okay. The Road to Master saw that. Well played. But there was no solution there because Rook C8 and also Rook E6, those scores were covered by my light square bishop. Yep, there you go. Nella's put that in the chat. Real fascinating website. I don't know if he still has the website. I would imagine so. But he's done a ton of research on, fairly obscure chess records that are pretty interesting also. Hello, Element. Thank you for joining us. Okay, I could play rook c8 here. Kind of a boring way of playing it, but I'm going to do it. It's pretty effective. Just forcing at least one trade and possibly another. Black can play bishop d8, but not looking too good. Okay, and I think now I'm just going to... Let's just take... Whoa. I almost navigated away from the game. What would happen, actually, if I clicked a button while I was in game? I think the game still runs, and you just get some sort of warning like, hey, you're still in this game. Yep. Thank you, Road to Master. So you were doing just fine. This is a theoretical position here after bishop g5. Usually black takes on d4 because your bishop is in danger of getting a bit overloaded because it's watching both f6 and c5. So this is a good time to capture here. As played, you're going to find plenty of examples like this too. Rook e8. Here we can see the master's breakdown. So at master level, they usually do take or also push, I think is still regarded pretty okay by theory. But yeah, even after this, like I don't want to say that one mistake should be fatal, but it does look like I get a significant amount of activity. Maybe a6, given that I want to jump into d6 anyways, maybe that's ill-advised. It is kind of tough, though. I'm not exactly sure what advice I can offer from here. So kind of just a position where you got to know what's going on a little bit. Longest mutual series of checks is 6, according to Tim Crab. Okay, interesting. And he probably gives the game where that happens. It's cool. And Game of Thrones. Great username again. Good luck. And Game of Thrones. Okay, I played Sicilian, played Scandi, played Caro. Let's play Peerts. The Peerts opening. Now I play it with e5, but there's also g6. Let's go with g6. I feel like you guys don't want to see a potential endgame here, so I'm gonna do that. Then bishop e3. Okay, so 150 attack. You know, I'm gonna get aggressive against this. I'm gonna play knight g4. Let's just see where white wants to put that bishop. We're gonna take this into potentially unique theory, unique waters. That is a great username, yeah. And Game of Thrones. I have played in Game of Thrones before, one game. I remember that one, yeah. I think that was from pretty recently, a week or two ago, maybe. All right, e5. Let's advance in the center now. And if white attacks this knight, I'm probably going to take on d4. I don't know, though, actually. I got a new keyboard the other day, and oh man, it's nice. It's so much easier to press. I've been upgrading some of my equipment, like with the vertical mouse as well. Because I think I was telling you guys about this, but I had a tendonitis issue for the past few months. And it's kind of going away. I think I've just had to give it time, quite honestly. But upgrading some of my tech has been a help as well in small ways. Take. Can I take here? That seems too radical. I don't think that's going to work. I could play queen f6, though. That might be challenging. Maybe I do that. I'm really curious how this will go. Oh, white takes there first. Okay, well, now I feel a lot safer. Because keeping the tension there would have been more annoying, in my opinion. Now, knight takes d4. Yeah, I probably will play queen f6. Hello, Chandin. Hello, Diliata as well. Okay, so threatening checkmate in 1, threatening the knight. Element says the Peerts defense very suspicious. Some people would say so, yeah. They don't play this at the top level too much, but you know, we embrace all sorts of openings that the top level players don't play because you know, yeah, I'd be curious what your guys' opinion is on this. It seems to me just the top level consensus right now is that e5 is such an effective response to e4. There's not a whole lot of risk reward in favor of playing anything other than e5 for many, many top level players. Like they just have e5 as their absolute go-to. They know it's never going to get refuted. They will still play the occasional Sicilian or maybe French defense or Caro or something. But I think I'm just spitballing here. Just this is totally off the top of my head. I think for about 80% of top level players, let's say like top 20, 30 players, they feel comfortable playing E5 and are totally willing to play those positions. That might be a little high. Let's say 75%. Alpha Zero agrees. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's right. In the original white paper for Alpha Zero, it basically stopped playing E4 against itself because it wasn't finding an edge against E5. And I think in the final analysis, it preferred knight F3 and D4 on move 1 for white, even though the percentages are very, very close. Okay, this is dangerous for Endgame of Thrones. I'm blaring down the diagonal and the file here towards C3 and B2. Frozen Cloud says, "Are you that good, John, that you can play any opening?" Well, I can play a lot of openings, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to play them well. And honestly, if I were playing players my own rating or even a little bit lower and doing what I'm doing here, I would be burning a lot of time in the opening and in many cases not getting good positions. So it's mostly a product of the skill difference that you see here. Not with this game, but the totality of the games that I play on stream against viewers makes such a huge difference. Okay, thank you, Endgame of Thrones. Appreciate it. Yeah, this early knight g4. I mean, not a great move, I think. Usually black just fianchettos or plays c6. But, I've seen in Sicilians where white tries to put the bishop on e3 early on that it can make sense to do this. So, looks like it's been played a handful of times. Bishop g5 certainly makes sense. Keep the bishop active. Because you're right, you don't want to trade it for the knight, but maybe keeping it a little more active was better. I didn't like your move bishop takes c6. I felt like knight takes d4 was totally fine here. Keep the tension a little bit. Then you maintain some optionality if you want to take on c6 with the knight first. And I was flirting with this idea, but I don't know if I really buy it. The engine says just go back, stop the mate threat. Knight d5 is going to be annoying. Yeah, this whole scheme of development for me is probably too optimistic. But yeah, I think bishop takes c6, and here too you got to be careful now. I think knight f3 is probably the only move. A pan of boiling water. Interesting. That's funny you say that because when I'm making tea, Chad has yelled at me for this, but when I'm making tea, I usually just boil like a single cup of water and then put the tea bag inside. I know those of you who make tea the right way will just absolutely be revolted by that, but that's what I do. And I drink tea very rarely as a result. Well, I do have a kettle. I can't be bothered to heat up the water in the kettle. I really can't. I just put my cup in the microwave for 1 minute and I'm good. Wait a minute. Yeah, let's go here first. Okay, this is a pretty typical position. Now, I think I want to go c5 early here, but I'm thinking, let's do it. It's a pawn sack. I played this idea before. Basically, the idea is you try to stop black from going c5 themselves and liberating this light square bishop. The problem is you give up the d5 square, but this is, in theory, a pretty strong way to play this position. Let's play b4 now, and I'm going to meet knight d5 with bishop back to d2 to guard this and guard the bishop. Maybe black can try to get the bishop out here, but it's still going to be fairly limited on the side of the board. Where to put it? I'm going to go here. Maybe there's some bishop e2 operation coming up. Like arguably black could do this and then trade, but I think I'm going to be somewhat better if that happens. And a capture. Okay. Which way to recapture? I think I should take this way. Oh, yeah. Some of those kettles are high powered. They can heat up water real fast. They can boil it in a jiffy. That is true. Okay, here, bishop e5. Nah, not working. Let's just... You know what? Let's go here. I'm going to try to rule out this bishop e2 resource. Kind of helps defend the knight as well, so I think that's wise. Okay, now... Now. Can I catch my opponent? A lot of people will play this, but it's a mistake. Black was eager to trade. A lot of players, when facing a higher rated player, they over-index on trades. They try to go for trades too often, and that can backfire. All right, so now I'm up a pawn. I'm looking at queen a4 as an option. That seems pretty nice. Also taking here. These are forcing moves. I don't see a whole lot that's gained by them. Queen a4 looks real challenging to me. Defends the knight, hits the bishop. I'm eyeing up that e8 square. So be advised, I may have tactics coming up. Watch for tactics. Oh, that's good to know, Shed. Okay, bishop d3. I think I see a win. No, that's not winning. I was going to say take knight here to hit the bishop and also eye up e8, but the bishop on e7 will go back to f8. I really feel like I'm close to winning here, though. There's bishop f4 in the mix as well. Yeah, like bishop f4, bishop d6. This is close. Take knight e5 also. That's probably the way to do it. Then I check, then f7's weak. I'm going to go for that, I think. I am giving up my light score bishop, but... And I could have played knight e5 even without this, but for some reason, this seems correct. It's not exactly winning, though. I mean, there's even bishop g6 here. It's going to hold on for black. It'll be winning in the long run because of the c-pawn, but I'm looking for a tactical knockout that might not be there. I probably also could have just taken on a7. Hello, up. Greetings to you in the chat. Okay, so if I check on e8, bishop f8, knight d7, is that the move? That looks like it wins. So maybe bishop g6 even wasn't working. Yeah, so I'm going to go check. And then here. And black cannot guard the bishop. Okay. I can take. Let's take with the queen with check. Then take here, probably. This is the way to do it. Check here. Queen g8. Again, my king's a little open, so I got to be careful with the light squares. But black's not in a position to check me with their queen. I agree, Blunderchamp. Blunderchamp says the best way to drink tea is to make coffee. Cheers to that. I'm totally on board as I drink my coffee. No, but there is some delicious tea. If you guys ever go to like a really good tea house, I mean, fair play to tea. There's some really good tea out there. But I'm with you. Okay, let's be fancy here. Let's do this, and then check. Just to complete a little circuit with the knight. Okay, Gautam, thank you for the game. Yeah, I think that position can be a little tough to play after c5. I don't think white's winning immediately or anything, but you're cramped. Now, this is a pawn sack. You could decide to take twice, but I've seen some games where white has compensation even there. Oh, of course, the engine gives it 2 question marks. So, yeah, the timing of c5 does matter, so maybe I should play bishop f4 first. Maybe something along these lines. This is a little bit better, but even still, it doesn't like it so much. Okay, yeah, maybe this position was not the best time to do it because there are no master games that have been played with it. A few Lichess games, but yeah, it does it does invite the question, like, what happens if black just takes twice? I was going to go bishop f4 because bishop d6 is not possible. And then I was going to play knight e5, but I can see how black's better here. If white's initiative fizzles out, it is a pawn. But as played, black didn't go for that, and I felt like I had a pretty firm grasp on the position here after. Doesn't like bishop d2, though. It says you can go for this and then take. Yeah, that was an operation I was a little worried about if you just simplify. Black does look pretty solid here. Masters get busted by Stockfish when they play Sacrifice. Right, I think I'm like playing this time-honored Sacrifice, and Stockfish is like, no, double question mark. Okay, what about the position coming up? All right, so this is probably winning, as I said. Queen a4. Knight e5 is winning. Uh-huh. Very similar to the game, probably. What about the way I did it? This is still +4. So what's the big difference? Knight here. This is very similar. Is there some sort of resource within this position where black can maybe survive? I guess bishop f5 probably guards the d7 square, huh? Yeah, this is not immediately winning for white, but should be winning soon. c6, that's a nice move. Making way for bishop here, and the queen has to guard f7, so I can see how that's decisive. Also helps knight d7 too. That is nice. Okay, thank you for the game, Gautam. Oh, we got K Buckby. Greetings, K Buckby. All right. So I've already ratcheted up a 10-0 score against K Buckby, so that that no pressure to complete the adoption. We just have fun now. Good luck, K Buck. Because I said that, I'm probably going to encounter serious difficulties this game, but we'll find out. And I know B Buckby is waiting in the wings if I have trouble against K Buckby. Oh yeah, you play this line. I forgot. You like this variation, don't you? All right, all right. I'm not going to put the pawn on e4. Yeah, you like to do this. The whole knight f8, knight g6. I can respect it. Or g5. All right, really coming after me. Really going for it. Let's play a4. I'm going to try to expand with my pawns on the queen side. Maybe throw in bishop a3. Hello, David Drummond. Thank you for checking in from Australia. Cheers. Yes, these are random requests. I know I played K Buckby a lot, but bear in mind, we've played in arenas and other things. K Buckby is a viewer of my channel as well. I can assure you this is random as the accept random challenge button is. Anyone can challenge me. You have an equal chance. You all have an equal chance of getting accepted. Knight e4 or take first on e5 maybe? Or just continue expanding, queen c2. I see something interesting with this, so I'm going to try it. I feel like K Buckby's going to take and then play f5. And then I'm going to play d takes e5. That's the plan. If I know K Buckby, yes, my read was correct. Now I'm going to take here. Because if he takes here, I take here. And on this one, I was thinking knight d6. Let me just think if there's anything better. Could also maybe dabble with bishop d6, although that looks a little less effective. Let's drop the knight in. Very interesting position still. I got the two bishops. No immediate way to break through, to be fair. I think I got to just slow play this. Let's go b4. John, if you were more into computer science, you might be critical of the pseudo-randomness of Lichess. Well, this is an extension, though. Lichess did not create this extension that I have. So I admit I'm putting some faith in the extension creators. But whatever RNG they're using, right, I'm sure you could argue it's not purely random. I'm sure there will be some sort of argument to be made for that. All right. Maybe bishop c7 and then b6. That's an interesting move. I'm going to try. Queen a5 also kind of comes to mind. Now let's play b6. Cement that in. I'm offering to let k-buck be take, and then take c4. But then I'm going to play rook over to d1, probably. Start attacking. Takes. Let's use this rook. I might want to keep this rook here to try to lever open the position somehow. That's the plan. Let's go here. Where's k-buckby going to put the king? Because the king can't really move, I think, is the slight issue. All right, so if I take h takes and then maybe bishop e4, could that work? Oh, I see some really fun stuff. I can't resist. I'm going to do this. I cannot resist. You guys ready for this? Let's see how this turns out. Takes, rook f6 is the play. This is just going to get wild, but it looks really fun, so I'm going to do it. It's queen e7. Okay, take. I was thinking queen d5 might have been interesting there, but see how this goes. Material-wise, I'm down a pawn. But does this move win? Bishop coming back in the action. I got to hurry, though. I don't have much time. Can't take it. He gets mated on d7. I think this is winning for me. Take that. And then we'll take here. Attacking that. I try to do my best Mikhail Tal impression with bishop e4. It felt right, though, with the bishop not otherwise participating, you know? So I like the look of it. Okay, take here. I don't know why I played rook h7. That was not the most effective move, that's for sure. But it will be sufficient. All right. Okay, Buckby. Cheers. Thank you for the game. That was fun. Really interesting game. I think you played pretty well in the late opening because that was a little uncomfortable for you at the dark square bishop. I thought you might put your king on f7 somewhere. Whoa, plus 5.7, so evidently I missed something. I played bishop c7 here. The engine thinks it's okay. There were better moves, evidently. Okay, this might be better than I thought it was. It didn't seem that crushing to me during the game, but okay, I'm starting to make some mistakes. Rook d1, it really doesn't like. a5 wants me to play. All right. What about this idea? I mean, your king is a pretty big liability. Oh, rook takes f5. Whoa, that would have been even more vicious than what I did. Rook takes f5. Do you guys know why the engine wants me to play this one here? So if queen takes f5, what happens? Oh, thank you, Dr. Jamie. Yeah, that was fun. Rook f6 was a fun move. Yeah, that's right. So the engine points out if this, then I play bishop e4 with a similar deflection in mind. And black's not going to survive that with their king being so open, like rook f1 coming. This is evidently absolutely crushing. Whew. Again, it looks unclear to our human eyes, but the engine's like, nah, you got nothing to worry about if you're playing white here. Everything's going to collapse on d7. So bishop e4, on the other hand, because that other move is so strong, yeah, bishop e4 is not even in the top 5. It likes a5 more than it likes bishop e4. I'm going to guess that on bishop e4, k-buckby could have played something like rook f8 or here, or maybe knight e7. Knight e7 might be a good move. Let's see. Actually, it says takes. It also says those other moves are playable, but better for white. Okay, so if we get here, yeah, queen d5. I was a little worried about that move. Queen d5 offering a trade. I was thinking maybe I could move my queen. Like queen e2, let's say. And then knight e7. Wow, giving the queen. Of course, because on takes, and there's a fork here and here. I mean, if K. Buckby saw that, I would be fully willing to admit that K. Buckby completely outplayed me this game. Yeah, this is hard for black because they're under significant pressure, but I can see why queen d5 is kind of the thing to do. Yeah, and here I should have played bishop c5 as well. Doesn't like rook takes g6. So definitely not perfectly played, although it was flashy. Tough position for black to defend, though, in practice. All right, thanks, K. Buckby, for the game, as always. Who's up next here? Kasalnikov, good luck. Let's play knight f3 on move 1 this time. Hello, Mr. Prostitute. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. How many viewers do we have right now? Let's see. We got 200 plus on YouTube. We've got almost 400 on Twitch. Great. And once again, thanks everyone for joining. This is a weekly event. A6. Yeah, strong move. I like A6. We'll play it this way. This is kind of the more modern treatment of this line for black. Bishop d6, knight bd7. Sometimes they go for c5. Look, my opponent puts the bishop on e7. By the way, no joke chess. Are you there still? I have a quick question for you that the chat might find funny as well. Do I ever get recognized by viewers? Yeah, it's happened. I think I've been recognized like outside of a chess setting in real life maybe like 4 or 5 times. So not an enormous amount of times, but it has happened before. Actually, funnily enough, I've been recognized twice in a Chipotle and once in a Starbucks. So you guys can tell where I frequent based on that. Let's go here. I'm going to keep this dark square bishop. Just occupy this diagonal here. Can I do some puzzles? You know, occasionally I do that on my own stream, but this is Lichess Plays. We got to keep moving with challenges against the many viewers out there. Okay, c6. Now, usual plan here is to do like this. Go for a minority attack. Often best prepped with rook b1, actually. So a3, while useful. Ooh, b5. Okay. Well, let's go here now. I wonder if black's going to go for c5. Maybe they will. Let's play a4 now. I'm going to see if I can try to loosen up the black structure. That's right, Z Nation. There will be a lot of them. I don't go to Starbucks too often anymore because I've got coffee in my building now. But it has been a frequent. When I was in law school or studying for my law school entrance exam, the LSAT, I used to go to Starbucks. I just started going there, even though I was not a coffee drinker until I was probably 22 or so. I mean, I think I had coffee maybe once or twice before then, but as much as I love coffee now, I was not at all into coffee prior to that. But then, like, I just wanted to get out of the house while I was studying for the LSAT for like hours, and coffee shops are like a natural place to go. And I really like the environment and the ambiance, and the fact that I could order the same thing like every time. I was drinking a lot of iced Americanos at that point. So that would be my routine. I'd go to Starbucks and just post up for like 4 or 5 hours and drink iced Americano. Ooh, okay. What hits our radar about this position, chat? Do you guys know what I'm going to do here? I already have my move in mind, so this is not going to affect my choice. But Twitch chat, YouTube chat, what do you guys think? That's right. Yeah, this bishop's undefended now. Black blocked the defense of it by doing this. This is a very common tactic in some d4 lines, like the London, for instance. So I'm going to go for it. Kind of tempted to throw this in, but king e7 would be the answer there. So let's go ahead and take. Okay, so I'm up a pawn. I've got a very strong dark square bishop. Also, bishop g6 is looming in the position. I agree, Webster says. Webster says, coffee is really good, very addictive. You can say that again. Yes, it is. It's my one vice. I feel like it's okay to have like a single vice, as long within reason. We're all human. So for me, coffee is my single vice I've chosen. And I'm just cool with that. Like it doesn't have negative effects to the point where it's affecting my lifestyle in a damaging way. So I've made peace with that, and I like it. I like the ritual of it. I associate it with productivity. We're going to crash through it on the file here, by the way. Unless knight e4 is an issue, but I think I can play queen d4. Oh, thank you, Hypesor. Says coffee is actually very healthy. Nothing wrong with drinking it. Thank you. Thank you for validating my vice. Little time scramble here, but nothing I shouldn't be able to take care of. This is very much a winning position. If he starts playing really fast moves, though, I do have to be careful because, I am prone to losing on time. All right. So we get that win. Thank you for the game, Kasalnikov. So as I was saying in the opening, a lot of times Black plays this line with knight bd7 and bishop d6. Kind of the way you played it is more like the conventional Queen's Gambit declined. But I don't think this is a great version of it because I've played pretty standard moves. You've played a6, c6, and h6. Generally, aside from c6, like a6 and h6 may be dispensable. And the bishop on e6, strangely, is not so well placed sometimes, too. So I don't think you're hugely in trouble here, but I'm not a huge fan of your setup. This was probably still okay, though. I wonder what the eval is right around here. Marginally better for white, but nothing to write home about, really. I think this stage was kind of critical because you did get wrong-footed here, knight e5, and then this being a blunder, knight takes f7. Again, I will point this out to you guys. It's remarkable how opinionated the engine is about what it views as a decisive position these days. I mean, the engine is saying after knight takes f7, I'm up more than a rook and a pawn, if we want to put it in material terms. +6, which is just wild. But it probably is true that white is just winning here with best play. I mean, that's a significant blunder for for black. So I don't doubt that. It's just, I find these evaluations to be so aggressive sometimes. But I don't doubt it. All right, thank you for the game. Cubish, good luck to you. We played before. Oh, yeah, we had a tough game that one time. I remember this game. Let's play e4 against Cubish. Oh, there we go. Scandy. All right. All right. You going to play knight f6? Okay. Let's play this variation. Check. Did we play this last time too? I think we might have. I'm remembering now. You played an early c6, didn't you? You did that in some form. Like you played a6 first, and I was saying, yeah, bishop g4 was more standard. Okay. We'll check this game afterwards because I'm kind of curious now. Petition for John to play the pawns in a game of Horde as the final game of stream. Yeah, that's fun, but I don't know. I like that blindfold game. Dominique says, I thought you gave up on chess. Nice to see you again. What? Me? No, no, no. You got me confused with someone. I don't know if you were talking to me, Dominique, but that would be news if I had given up chess. News to me, at least, if I had given up chess. Okay, let's go here. So black can win this pawn back, but I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to take now and then just play knight e2. Maybe knight g3 at some point. I've got e3 covered, so I'm not greatly worried about that. Eventually, will chess computers say something like made in 18 with these crushing positions? You increasingly see that more often. Yeah, where if you just give it time to think on decent hardware, it's going to find something absolutely decisive. Yep. That has been a theme. Okay, I don't think taking on h2 is good, and if queen h4, I can play g3. So I think I should be fine here against some direct attack. Let's kick the knight. And black pretty much has to play knight f6 because knight b6 would run into c5, as would as would knight e7, and the bishop would have been trapped. So yeah, only move here. I don't know exactly what I should play here. I guess I'm going to go knight g3. Kind of weird looking, but let's attack the bishop. Oh, hello. Got these cheeseburgers. I was the last game. He says, I forgot Christoph's recommendation and keep it simple for black. He does indeed recommend knight b7. Oh, yeah. In that Queen's Gambit decline. Okay, so you were playing along Christoph's recommendations, right? So you can remember that configuration. Knight goes to d7, bishop goes to d6 against that line where white captures on d5 early. Thank you, GM Sultai. Will kids today growing up with Stockfish and Alpha Zeros play chess on a whole new level in the future? Well, I think you're already seeing it to an extent. I talked about this recently on stream, but it's really reflected to me in the games of the great young players like Ali Reza who play such concrete and unbiased chess. Absolutely. Yeah, sure thing, Z Nation. Feel free to ask away. All right, so my opponent avoids the skewers, but I'm going to take this pawn now. And then maybe g4. Advance, attack. Let's go here. Black for now is solid, but I am up a pawn. Pretty secure pawn. Okay, just play rook e1. Could maybe go here and take the knight, but I really like my dark square bishop here, so I don't feel particularly pressured to do anything with it yet. Now I am actually thinking about taking that knight because I can invade down the file. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to play like this and then perhaps look to double up. Ooh, my opponent takes. Okay. Let's double. I'm threatening this. Also, b7's a little bit loose. f6, kind of a shaky way to defend. They're using the bishop to defend. Could play rook in. The queen doesn't have a lot of options. Could also just take b7. Let's play rook in. Basically, I have g3 and d8. That's it. Or b8, I suppose. I don't see like a clear way to end this. I'm going to play a sneaky move, and my opponent might blunder. Oh, I get the desired result here. This is my plan. I'm going to get the queen to f8. I was trying to be a little sneaky with queen b4, but the position's so decisive in my favor. It's not really a risk. But point there is, thank you for the game, Cubish. Point there is if takes, then I've cleared the way for this mate in the end. Yeah, so I think Cubish, you were doing fine up until maybe... I'm not sure I like bishop takes g3. I don't think you should give your dark square bishop. Yeah, Engine says you're totally good if you just play bishop g6. Not much of anything for white. But giving that dark square bishop, you immediately had problems, especially with the queen having to run around. And here's again, you see the eval just spike to much more than +1, you know? So the damage has been done at this point. Thank you for the game. Team Scandy. Okay, Guido 1996. Good luck. Let's play E5. Element asks, what makes GMs way better than IMs? IMs are really good at chess, but a GM will beat an IM 10 out of 10 games. Dude, you're killing me here with that question. 10 out of 10 games? Well, I don't think there's any one thing I can point to and say, oh, well, yeah, GMs are better than IMs at specifically this. It's a range of factors. It's always going to be a range of factors. Let's play bishop e7 here. I would say it's maybe, in my experience, most reflected in the depth of their opening knowledge and associated middle game plans and the sharpness of their calculation. But that could just be because of my lacking sometimes, especially in over-the-board play. Don't necessarily take that as the definitive answer, but that's what I've experienced. I know a lot of times they defend the knight here, f5 or bishop f5. I'm just debating what I want to do. Yeah, let's play f5. You always got to be careful about threats here, but I think this is fine. Do I take with the knight? Guess I will. Depends on the level of GM and IM. Yes, certainly. However, I could probably find you a case of an IM who will beat a GM 10 out of 10 times. Believe it or not. They are out there. Especially if we're talking online blitz. Ooh, now I'm going to take, because if queen takes, I get knight takes d4 in. So it's unfortunate for white to have to play, but I have a feeling white's going to play g takes. Wonderful time? Yeah, exactly. I am Min Lei. Shout out to Min. I was wrong, actually. I thought for sure, because when the opponent starts tanking like that, you kind of think that they're unhappy with their position and they see what's up, but they're going to more or less just decide to play the standard move. But white surprised me there and gave the pawn. So I'm zeroing in on this pawn now. Do I have a plus score against any GMs? Yeah, I do. And I've beaten Grandmasters before over the board many times, online as well. You know, I'm sure my overall record is pretty heavily negative against Grandmasters, but that's to be expected. Let's play c6 here. Kind of want to try to do something against f2, but I'm not really seeing it. I think I'm going to preserve this knight. It's tempting to take here, but I actually think my knight is more useful maybe jumping here or going to f5. So that's the plan. Have I beaten Magnus before? No, unfortunately not. We've only played that one time in the titled arena. GMs play h4 much more often? I don't know about that. Okay, so if rook takes, there's bishop g5. I mean, Simon Williams, maybe he brings up the average for Grandmasters, but I don't know if I agree with that comment overall. Okay, let's take here first. Because again, if queen takes, there's an issue. All right, my opponent resigns. Thank you for the game. GG. Yeah, so you got a little discombobulated here. There's a bunch of theory in this line. I'm not too familiar with this from the black side. This is one of these things. So those of you who play e4, e5 will know. There's quite a few gambits, like Scotch Gambit. That's probably the main example. Quite a few of these gambits where it's correct, and in fact, almost the only good thing to meet e5 with d5 counterattack. So white's hitting your knight, but you don't move the knight yet. You hit them with the counterattack d5. So it's just kind of one of those things you got to know, honestly. You can see this is the Masters database. It's not even close. Like d5 is pretty much the only move played. Knight e4 actually doesn't do too bad, but d5 is far and away the move there. Yeah, and I think in this position, bishop b6 and even the check are played more often. I was kind of winging it already here. I'm used to seeing this from the white side a little bit more often, but honestly, my knowledge of these positions in general is not good. So, I mean, bishop e7 seems like a normal move, though. But I'm sure in some high-level way, the bishop is not very well placed here relative to b6, because b6 does keep pressure on d4, so going to e7 has that disadvantage. I think you're doing probably fine here, but just have to respect the threat of bishop takes here and knight takes d4, so I can see why it likes these moves. All right. Thank you for the game, though. C bongs. Good luck. You have the move. Do I watch any other chess streamers regularly? I do not. I probably watch Danya the most, but I might catch every second or third stream he does for just a little bit. I really like watching Daniel Naroditsky. I pop into other streams on occasion. I watch Hikaru's stream sometimes. If there's coverage of major tournaments, chess.com, chess24, watch them sometimes too. Chess Bras. Okay, early c4. Do I take that? I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to play knight e7. I hope I'm not running afoul of some sacrifice on f7, but I think we're good. I like this setup now because I feel like I can pressure these points. There. Okay, yeah, I'll go bishop g4. Bishop's undefended, but if the bishop was on d3, white would have this and then knight g5. That would be an issue, but I don't think... Okay, and this is interesting. White's playing this pretty confident, so I got to be careful here. Because I know f4 can be a problem sometimes in these positions. Pawn to f4. Let me think. I feel like I might need to go c5. Knight c6 is an obvious move, but knight c6 somehow feels wrong after f4. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to get squished after f4. So let's play c5 and undermine the center. Danya and Hikaru can probably give you the sense of amazement we get from here. Yeah, watching those guys is incredible. I mean, the level at which is a baseline level for them while talking to chat and seemingly semi-paying attention is just beyond even me on my absolute best day, which is crazy. Like Daniel, for instance. I mean, Daniel is a strong player, but I don't think he's even quite top 100 in the world. He might be roughly around top 100 in the world FIDE, but just to put things into perspective. But online, I mean, he's an absolute beast. His understanding is enormous. And his baseline level and half distracted, I'm talking playing on stream, is just what I would absolutely aspire as a long-term goal when I'm hitting on all cylinders. Really got to be careful here. I still think I'm fine. Take, knight c6, maybe take. Okay, I'm going to do that. I wish I could just, after queen takes d4, I wish I could hop the knight and play bishop h2 and win the queen, but we know that's not going to happen. Could happen maybe if white inserted knight takes g6. Now, I think this move is all right. So I'm going to play it. Unfortunately, after this, bishop h2 is still not working because then the knight will be defending the queen. So my plan is just to take back and hit the queen. Hikaru got to 2,300 yesterday with queen sacks every game. Yeah. Wow. Take. Now, I'm not worried about some desperado because the material balance will be in my favor at the end. Why not f6? Asked Tim's. Well, f6, the bishop on c4. So f6 was pretty much illegal all the time here with white's bishop sitting on f4. Okay, now things are shaping up nicely for me, I think. I've dodged a lot of the stuff I was a little bit afraid of. So now I'm going to try to play actively. I'm going to bring this rook over. This looks a bit shaky to me. How many languages do I know? Sadly, I am only fluent in English. I am semi-embarrassed to say. I can speak and understand a bit of Spanish, but nothing to write home about. But I do hope to improve that someday. I would really like to spend some time learning more languages. That is a long-term life goal for me. Let's go here now. It just seems like it's going to be difficult for white to keep this together because there's pressure here, maybe. I feel like this queen's like slightly overloaded already. I have an extremely compact position, and the time is in my favor too. Amy's chess first-time chatter says, "You are overwhelmed. White's pieces are everywhere." Well, now I feel like I have to prove you wrong, Amy's. But I like how matter-of-factly you stated that. Like, you are overwhelmed. Resistance is futile. All your base are belong to us. Are you guys ready for this move? Yeah, all your base are belong to us. That is a real old school internet meme, isn't it? Okay, so point is if he takes, I have knight f3 at all times. And here, let's go for f5. I know time is a ticking. I don't see an immediate win. Okay, white further loosening their position. I can always take here. Knight c4 also looks pretty good. Knight c4, queen d3. Knight takes e3 with a fork. Yeah, let's do that. I'm guarding this and this too. So no checks. Okay. Oh, there's the hanging bishop there. I didn't notice. I guess there's queen c4 against that. Thank you for the game, Sibong. Yeah, it looks to me like you knew what you were doing in this line. I think you probably studied this before or something very similar because this specific operation, like h3, g4, knight e5, that is another. You guys were talking about Alpha Zero earlier, the impact of it. Alpha Zero loves this plan, getting a knight into e5, aggressively pushing the kingside pawns in a lot of positions. It really is a fan of this. And it's just something to be aware of because let's just say I go to sleep here and I play c6 or something. Moves like h4 can already become pretty uncomfortable. Maybe this isn't the greatest example because I can do this and the knight is guarding, but if you imagine like the knight is not assisting the bishop in particular, this is already pretty cramping on the bishop here. But that said, I think I defended this fairly well, but let's see what it likes for you after c5. It says you should just go ahead and take g6 and play with the two bishops. So, yeah, the engine really likes this position for white. Probably due to the bishop pair, the space advantage. That's characteristic of how a lot of these top engines prefer to play. They want that space with the pawns. They want to grab as much space as possible. All right. Thank you for the game. We have about 20 minutes left in the stream today. Time for a few more games. Francisco. Very good. Francisco. That was my actual, speaking of other languages, when I took Spanish in school, the teacher allowed us to, have a Spanish name for class, and Francisco was my Spanish name. Let's play a winnower. 97. I also remember the one, I think, trimester of French that I took. It was my middle school year, and we had to take some language, and I think French and Spanish were the only options. So I took French, and there too, like the first day of class, we decided on a French name. Like the teacher just pulled up just a list of French names, and I chose Aurélien. Aurélien. I always remember that. I don't know why. I just thought it sounded cool. Should have been Juan. Yeah, but that would have been too boring, right? Oh, thank you, Ed, by the way, on YouTube. So I'm aiming for this a5 and then into c4 square later. Yeah, let's jump in now. So convoluted maneuver. Black's hoping to keep the position closed here in the short term. Put pressure on the a4 pawn, maybe long term. Get this in. maybe c5. I will say that these positions can be tough for white if white's play stalls out. Have ever been to France or Canada? I have been to Canada, and I've been to Quebec in Canada too. So primarily French-speaking province, although many also know English. I have not been to France though. Minnesota is like southern Canada. Yeah. I do still have the tree up. The chat voted on it. My personal chat, I ran a poll and they overwhelmingly voted to keep it. Okay, that's probably a good move. Dare I fianchetto the knight here? This is usually a bad idea, but I'm going to do it. Have I met the chess bros in person? I have, yes. Yeah, I've met Eric and Amon. I played them before and over the board games. I think I played both Eric and Amon twice each. With Eric, I drew him twice, but we played when we were much younger. I'm talking like 10 to 15 years ago, probably. Probably more like 15 years ago. I played Eric when he was like an up and coming junior player coming from Canada to play a bunch of American Opens. So, yep. Known him for a long time. Played Amon actually more recently twice. He beat me in one game and we drew in one game, especially when Amon was like going for his Grandmaster title. All right, let's take this. I know, right? Strangely, I still really like my position here. I mean, if I could get a position like this out of the French often, I would play it more. We got the fianchetto knight. We're chilling. I feel like I need to take control of this diagonal, though. So let's go here. Attack that knight. No, I've never played Rosen. No, I have not played Eric. I haven't played Levy. I have not been to too many tournaments where Levy and Eric have played. At least that I remember. But I've met Eric in real life before a couple times. This move is nasty. Would threaten the queen and most importantly threaten checkmate. I guess white always has queen e4. But yeah, some stuff to think about here for white. White looks a little overextended in this position. This could also be a threat. Oh, I played Danya OTB too. Yeah, Danya and I have a draw from the 2014, wow, a long time ago, 2014 Millionaire Chess Open in Las Vegas. Actually, Danya told me he was really tilted because I played super solid as white, and I was actually probably pressing a little bit, but the game ended in a draw. And he said he didn't like playing me because I was so solid. Okay, if I go here, d5 is the only move I'm kind of worried about. Check, and I can take here. I don't trust this line, though. I don't like the domino effect that happens, so I'm going to do this one. Whoa, d5 anyways. He just guns it. So if I take here, he takes here. I take here, he takes here. I can go here. Let's do that. We'll do a little ring around the rosy here. I could maybe take here, but then I got to rely on my knight escaping, which I don't think it will. So I'm going to do this one. The fianchetto knight perishes, alas, but this pawn is going to be lost. And if he pushes the c pawn, he walks into a fork. All right. All right, Francisco, thank you for the game. Appreciate it. Yeah, these positions are strategically complicated. I feel like maybe around here you had a reasonable position. Let's see what the engine thinks. We'll consult the oracle. Oh, it actually likes knight b7. Nice. Fianchetto knight for the win. I was thinking about going a5. I feel like maybe for you, a5 is a good move here. Strategically speaking, trying to trade your isolated a pawn for my solid structure here makes sense. Yeah, I probably would play c5. Yeah, I mean, here too, you have some issues, but if I try to take and open it up, you're going to get play. So sometimes white has to be willing to roll around in the mud a little bit here structurally. So maybe I would have done that if I were you. G4 did feel kind of loose to me, although I didn't exactly punish it, I would say. Yeah, you were just mostly low on time at this point. If you play 93, the engine still says you're fine. Hey, even up through almost the very end, I think you're doing reasonably okay. Still calling for A5 here despite this, because I guess you can always meet knight F4 with, yeah, queen F1 at this point. Looks a little loose, though, in time pressure for sure. So thank you for the game. We're going to get maybe 2 or 3 more games in here. Augustin's Kitaleski, good luck. Let's play D4 again. Okay. I'll try another Jobava London. John, have you ever spoke to a bigger group than your Twitch chat? Probably some of my streams have been like the largest group of players or people in general I've spoken to. I can't really think of anything else that would beat that. Certainly some broadcasts I've been on, like in the thousands of viewers. This line. I feel like I should take C5 here. Let's do it. I think that's the move, but I'm always a little uncertain. Like this is that A6 C5 approach I've mentioned that can potentially be good. And I think I should go bishop E2 now. And what now? Like knight D4, knight E5? Actually, probably knight here is still the move. Let's do it. Risky operation, or it looks risky because the knight is on the edge of the board. But the thing is, if black plays this, they're going to run into B4, I believe. I am Bricktop says, I've never understood knight C3 before C4. Makes the structure feel extremely weird. Yeah, it has to be handled with care. It's the signature move of this Jobava London. So playing a London system with the bishop going to F4, but with the knight in front of the C-pawn, I agree. It can be awkward. A lot of times the knight moves later, as I am doing here. But basically, you're angling for quick development. It's almost like a more aggressive E4 style approach, if you will, to D4. So getting like a more active position from the jump and doing it within the D4 complex. Okay, so I think my opponent sees what's up and that they cannot take their right away. I'm really thinking about this now, I gotta say. Knight B6 maybe too. I mean, knight B6 and then B4 nearly wins material. Knight B6, I guess rook A7 will be the answer. I feel like I should play B4, so I'm probably going to do that. Queen comes back. Okay, so this is now a weakness for me. So let's cover that. Do I really need to right away, though? I can just castle, too. Now, let's do that. I mean, the knight's guarding here. I don't think I have to play rook C1. Okay, let's go A3. And I want to go C4. This is why I'm doing this. I'm trying to prop up the B4 square. Now, I'm playing around with knight B6 somewhere, too, but I think I'm just best advised to continue doing this. John, have you played any other chess games like Capablanca chess? Yes, I've played variants before. Some of them I've found kind of fun. But for me, it's hard to compete with conventional chess. Hold on, I got to be careful here. Take their knight D. I'm just noticing knight D2 might be an issue. So maybe I trade queens first. That's still somewhat of an issue. Okay, let's go here. Okay, now I feel like I should be able to do this. With that rook kind of messed up. My opponent's going to pressure me on the clock, though. So, all right, you got to focus, John. You cannot. It's been a good Lichess play stream for me today, results-wise. I cannot blow this position. No, no, no. This is a pretty crushing position, too, with that rook being so out of the game on A7. Let's go here. I'm allowing knight c3. Should not have allowed that, but I think it's still fine. Let's go here. I need to trade a little bit. Oh, I had bishop b8. Come on. John, you should see that. Bishop b8. Come on. That should be easy. Still going to do it. Now, I only win an exchange out of this is the annoying thing. This is going to be tough. Focus. Focus, John. Oh, I'm dropping material there, but... okay, I played a lot of bullet recently. I should be able to handle this. Keep my opponent in the cage. And I'm just going to roll it here. Oh, roller mate. All right. Augustins, thank you for the game. Yeah. I think if you had held on a little bit more, like in the middle game, you might have been able to flag me. It was getting close. So, yeah, difficult position for you. But maybe if you had kept your knight on c6 a little bit longer, I think you could probably pester me with knight c3 somewhere. I would imagine would be okay. Very competitive. I agree. Blindfold time? I think it is time. Here we go. Yeah, we probably don't have time for 2 more complete games, so I'm going to do 1 more. And we're going to hide the pieces. Again, you can do this. Anyone has access to this feature on Lichess if you really want to challenge yourself. You go to your preferences, and under Game Display, the main option here, you go all the way down, and you click Blindfold Chess, Invisible Pieces, and you click Yes. It's kind of blocked by my webcam, but click Yes. Now, you guys will not be able to see the board, or the pieces, rather, as I play. It's just going to be a blank board. You're going to see what I see, which is nothing except for the board and the move list on the right-hand side. So if you want to follow me, you can follow Fins, F-I-N-S. And then you can view the game. This is tough. I don't know who I'm going to get. This is the person talking in the chat who's like been making the notes after every game. I'm scared. This is a total wild card. I'm playing black here. Beware Rating Troll. Are you there? This is your time. This is your time to shine. You've been dropping the comments every game. Very creative, I might add. I'm giving you a chance. Are you there? Don't tell me you're AFK now. Oh, now you got nothing to say? I don't think Beware Rating Troll is there. Oh, thank you, Wibster, by the way, on YouTube. All right, we got to go on. Last chance. He's scared. He's silent. All right, we got to go on. All right, second attempt here. Oh, this is where it gets real. AB Dex, 1930. Okay. Focus, John. Playing white. I have D4 on the board. The time scrambles are so difficult with this. Let's play C4. Okay, we have a Grunfeld. Okay. I'm playing a main line. I'm actually playing a line I'm not super familiar with. That was probably a mistake on my part. Let's go. I'm going to be aggressive here. We're going to go D5. I'm allowing bishop takes C3. We're going to play this variation. Because I think it's in my best interest to try to strike early against some of these higher rated players. Make them think. Well, I still can visualize the position pretty well, and we're far away from a time scramble. Because the time scrambles are my worst enemies in these. It's so some of these guys can do it. Again, like the Danyas, the Hikarus, the Andrew Tangs, the Penguin GM1s. I don't know how they do it. It's unbelievable to me. But they can track where things are going in the time scramble blindfolded. They can still play coherent moves. But even they get confused from time to time. So we're going to find out here. Back to b8. Okay, so... I have not castled yet. Let's go... let's castle myself here. Got a time edge. I'm thinking about also queen into h6, but I want to see if black castles first. There's no dark square bishop to worry about, which is kind of nice. Bishop out to g4. All right. Against that one, I could give a check. Yeah, let's actually give a check here. See if black moves the king or moves the bishop. Oh, wait. Check. King g8 is forced. This is dangerous for black. Knight e5 coming. Attacks the bishop. I don't see a knockout, but it looks very awkward for my opponent all of a sudden. Got that time lead. I'm hitting the bishop right now. It's got to go back to c8 or d8. C8 or d7, I mean. Goes bishop d7. Okay, so if I take... I don't like that because I'm helping my opponent develop. Let's pull the bishop back. Now, I realize he's probably going to try to chase me. But that's fine. He's very bound up here. If f6, maybe f4. Nah, f4 is a little too radical. Queen there. He's offering a trade. I'm not going to take him up on that. We're going to go back here. I'm hitting this pawn now. I got great compensation here. This is actually a pretty awesome position, I think. E6. Okay. D6 feels like a good move here. Oh, no, but the queen's on f8, guarding that. Okay. Queen's on f8. Let's play rook over. Let's pre-move this capture. Okay, he's under a minute. King g7. All right, so castling by hand here. Oh, queen g7. Yeah, queen g7. Okay. So now I could take on c5, I believe. Again, I'm trying to track where everything is. I think I can do that. The queen was guarding from there. Oh, wait. Oh, the knight hangs. Oh, my pawn is still on d5. Oh, all right. Now I got to scramble. Darn. All right. He takes that. It's still not easy, though, for my opponent. Goes to f5. Okay. Just keep it complicated, John. Made a big-time mistake there in what I did. If I can keep it complicated, I have a chance. He's down to 30-some seconds. There? Wait a minute. Can't I take now? What's the deal? Take here, right? Isn't that rook trapped? King h7. There is a knight there, right? Take it. Knight's on b8. Okay. Bishop b5. Knight's coming out. Okay. Let's go queen back. I got to save it because it was attacked from the rook. It's getting a little blurrier now, but I think I'm still good. My bishop... Oh, pawn on d5. I'm going to win. He's not going to get a move off in time. There. Take it, right? Hey, nice. All right. Well, aside from hanging that knight, I think I played pretty well. Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty big mistake, allowing queen takes e5, but I think I'm just totally winning in the final position, material. So black didn't manage the queenside scenario that well. I think they got a little flustered in time pressure. Here, let's throw the piece set, the preferences back on before I forget to do that. Thank you for the game, AB Dex. Yeah, there we go. I did like the position I was working with here. I think you defended fairly well. Queen G7. Yeah, I should have played take and then maybe take here, or perhaps even take here right away. This position looks really good, probably, if I play any of those moves. Maybe F4 as well. Plus 6.4. Yeah, F4. Because black has a hard time moving. They're kind of congested here and here. Yup. But instead, I played the big mistake here. But fortunately, I kept my wits about me. I also didn't blunder stuff like take, queen takes c5. So queen c7 was a good move. Black does have issues here. Actually, it says white's better now. That's kind of funny. It is hard to defend on that side of the board, I suppose. Okay. I'm going to give myself a decent grade on that one. Again, aside from that one mistake, I think I played pretty flawlessly otherwise. So thank you, AB Dex, for the game. Thanks to everyone for tuning in for Lichess Plays today. This is always a pleasure. I feel very lucky that I can hang out with you guys and play chess with everything going on in the world right now. Again, big shout out to all the Ukrainians out there. If any happen to be watching, we're with you. And thanks again to Lichess Plays for this opportunity. As always, thanks to the mods. No Joke Chess, Numeroid, if you're there. And I think I'll see you guys next week. We're rating The Last Samurai. Nice. And you all have a good week. See you on Twitch in the near future. Thanks, Twitch chat. Thanks, YouTube chat. You're all great.